You need to have better pocket if you're going to win more games in Madden 23. And who better to learn from than NFL legend, CEO of pocket, the best pocket passing quarterback of all time, Tom Brady. And Tom Brady uses 3 techniques in order to have such an excellent pocket. Number 1, he cuts his drop. He won't drift back and make his first step in the pocket backwards. The next thing he does is he steps up in the pocket relative to defenders around him. And number 3, he creates pocket presence drills in order for him to be constantly aware of the defenders around him. Next, what does pocket do for you? Well, pocket gives you more time to throw the football, it opens up passing lanes, and it also gives rushing capability to pocket quarterbacks. For example, if you step up in the pocket with Tom Brady, you're able to possibly gain 5 to 10 yards just rushing the ball. But you're not able to do that to these sidelines. So you can't scramble out to the left or scramble out to the right because your quarterback might just be too slow. And that's why pocket is so important. And we're gonna go over how you can implement techniques to better your pocket in Madden 23. The first technique Tom Brady uses to attain elite level pocket is cutting his drop from a long 5 to 7 yard drop to a strict 5-yard drop and maybe even a 3-yard drop on quick passes. In order to cut your drop in Madden 23, you need to do 2 main things. Number 1, you need to spam the left trigger in order to gain control of your quarterback faster. After you do that, you also need to make sure that your left stick is pointing upwards to make sure that the first step your quarterback takes in the pocket is forward. So let's go over a quick rep of it. So the first thing you do is spam L2 and make sure that your first step is upwards in the pocket. You may find yourself getting sacked after a certain period of time. However, those sacks will only be for 1 to 2 yards. So let's do this one more time and see if I can get as much time as possible using these techniques. And as you can see, because I stepped up, I was able to even scramble out to the left or right very easily. And I also got an absolute ton of time in the pocket because I moved relative to the defenders. But the most important part is I was able to gain control of my quarterback very fast. So instead of stepping back and possibly running into the edge rush, I stepped up. And as a result, both edge rushers engaged to the inside. So as you can see, instead of looping around this lineman, who I subbed in, is 62 overall, he actually gets a very poor animation where he has to try to shed to the inside. And the same thing happens with this defender here. This defender tries to go for an edge animation, but because I step up, the defender doesn't take a great sort of leverage option. And as a result, we can move out to the right side. And we got a ton of time in the pocket to the point where this post was able to already get 20 yards downfield and start running all the way across. And that's why that tip is so important, and cutting your drop can open up so many options for you. And if you just did that, you would have better pocket overnight. We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to urge you to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon for the best Madden tips that you can find on the entire internet. The next component of pocket mastery is stepping up in the pocket, and Tom Brady does this proficiently. Now, to implement this in Madden, there isn't an easy technique. If you cut your drop, it definitely does help, and you have to do that to make sure you're doing this at the highest efficiency rating. But it's a tad more conceptual. You need to pay attention to where the defenders and your offensive line is moving. But the reason you specifically don't want to just be moving away from the defenders and stepping up is because when you step up, you can often give your offensive line a second opportunity to block the defender if they lost the initial animation. So I'm going to run through a couple reps of me trying to step up in the pocket and show some good examples of this happening. So as a result, I'll usually cut my drop. Okay, so that was actually a really good rep. The reason that was a good rep is because I put my offensive line in a good position to get a second animation. So in this case, you can see that Tristan Wirfs gets shedded quite quickly. And normally you would get sacked, but because I stepped up in the pocket, I'm giving Tristan Wirfs another opportunity to possibly block this defender. And in this case, I was given a good 3 to 4 yards of space with a pocket quarterback if I decided to rush. So let's do this one more time and step up in the pocket as our main focus. And as you can see, I'm getting a ton of time. I'm just taking sacks here. I'm not trying to throw the ball or anything, so don't think, oh, why are you taking sacks? I'm taking sacks just to show how much time you're actually given. So let's go over this example and what I noticed on this play and how I stepped up in the pocket. So in this case, you can see both defenders playing, or your offensive line playing well. Tristan Wirfs won his animation. So as soon as I saw that, the first thing I did is step up in the pocket, knowing that everyone else on the field would have to travel a far distance to get to me. The other thing that I noticed is this edge defender started to win his animation quite quickly and get around. Our offensive lineman got shedded actually in a really bad spot. So if we would have stepped back instead of stepping up, we would have likely got stacked for a 10-yard loss. But because we stepped up, not only did we get a ton of time, but this defender had to run another 10 yards to get to our quarterback after running the first 10 yards to get around the offensive lineman. And because of this, stepping up is so crucial, and it is a practice that you need to implement to have better pocket. Practice truly makes perfect, and the best way to actually improve your pocket presence and force it into muscle memory is to create pocket presence drills. Now, to create pocket presence drills in Madden, it's actually really simple. The most common rush you're going to be going against is a standard 4-man rush from a 4-down lineman set. You can, of course, try it against a 3-man rush, but I recommend a 4-man rush because they get better edge animations, and you could practice stepping up in the pocket. So I'm just going to call cover 1 hole here. And what I also recommend you do is you could come out in any formation with 5 blocking, but I think the easiest way to do so is come out in like an empty base flex or just any 5 wide where there's no one on the line to ensure that you're getting the most common animations between the offensive and defensive line. So you can call any play. I'm just going to call gun empty base flex 4 verticals. And as you can see, this is what it'll look like. You have the 4-down lineman set, and we have just a normal 5 wide play. It doesn't really matter what it is. And you'll see that a lot of the time, the edge rushers will take to the edge, and you just got to practice stepping up in the pocket, trying to maximize the amount of time that you'll be able to have. I don't recommend doing this with a 3-man rush, because if you do only have 3 people blitzing, you could have 4, but if you only have 3, the defensive line just won't shed whatsoever. You'll have hours and hours in the pocket, and then you'll think you'll have the best pocket in the world, and when that's not actually the case. 90% of people will be blitzing 4, and that's the only way to truly get sheds in this game, so that's why I recommend having 4 blitzing. So all we're going to do here is just practice pocket, kind of see where the edge animations goes, step up, try to get as much time as we can, right? It's the worst when someone sheds in the middle, and that's why if you are playing much, just a quick tip, I do recommend post-ups or even secure protectors in the middle of the field. So if the edge rushers do shed, which they will regardless of what you have, having time in the middle of the field really does help. So yeah, all you're really trying to do is just try to get as much time as possible, create muscle memory based on the animations. As you can see, I saw the left side open up, so I took a little bit of a step to the left. But the biggest tip that I can give you, and I'm gonna try to showcase it here, is don't force anything. Until the pocket collapses, then you step up. And as you can see, that was a pretty good example. In the previous examples, I was kind of just stepping up to showcase what you could do, but don't step up until you see a reason to step up. See, like right here, the animation on our offensive line was winning, right? There was no reason for me to move, right? And that's what you're trying to develop in the pocket presence drill. The biggest skill that you can have is waiting until the pocket collapses, right? Right there was nowhere to move, and we just sat there for as long as we possibly could. And that's really how to create a pocket presence drill. You're gonna send 4, just try to create as much time in the pocket as you can. You notice there was a pancake on the right, you want to step to the right? So you just want to get as much time as you can. Even getting it between 1 extra second or an extra half second can make a major difference in your game and can win you games just on its own. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and if you really like this video, subscribe to the channel. We do have the best Madden tips on the internet, and on top of that, if you're looking for a great offensive scheme to use your now established pocket with, make sure to check out this video here.